Watch until the end, because one small detail in this moment can change everything. What started as a lighthearted post-concert moment quickly turned into one of the most talked about incidents involving BTS and Jimmy Fallon. The atmosphere was relaxed, almost unusually calm for a group that had just wrapped another explosive night on their Arirang Tour 2026. The members RM, Jin, SUGA, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook were sharing a casual game session with Fallon, a familiar face known for blending humor with unexpected celebrity interactions. The setup felt harmless, a simple game, a few laughs, cameras rolling, but not in a high-pressure way. It was the kind of behind-the-scenes content fans love, unfiltered, spontaneous, real. Fallon, known for his energetic personality, was fully immersed, joking with the members and hyping up every move as if it were a championship match. Jungkook stood slightly ahead of the others, relaxed but focused, his attention locked on the game. Jin and Jimin exchanged playful remarks behind him, while V observed quietly, his expression calm but attentive. RM, ever the leader, kept a watchful eye on everything, balancing the energy of the moment. SUGA and J-Hope stood to the side, their reactions subtle but ready to shift at any second. Then it happened. Fallon swung. What should have been a clean, controlled hit turned into something completely unexpected. The ball launched off the paddle at an unusual angle, fast, unpredictable, and before anyone could react, it made direct contact with Jungkook. The sound alone shifted the mood. Everything froze for a split second. Fallon's expression changed instantly. The confidence, the humor, it vanished. In its place was pure shock. His hands dropped as if he couldn't process what had just happened. The energy of the entire scene collapsed into silence. Jungkook staggered slightly, caught off guard more than anything else. It wasn't just the impact, it was the suddenness. One moment he was part of the game, the next he was the center of a moment no one saw coming. And then BTS reacted. Jin was the first to move, his playful demeanor gone in an instant as he stepped forward with visible concern. Jimin followed immediately, his face tense, eyes locked on Jungkook. RM closed the distance quickly, his leadership instincts taking over as he assessed the situation in real time. V's calm exterior broke just enough to reveal genuine worry, while J-Hope and SUGA shifted from observers to active support, their attention fully on their youngest member. Fallon approached cautiously, clearly shaken. His usual quick wit was nowhere to be found. Instead, there was hesitation, an awareness that the moment had crossed from entertainment into something real. Jungkook raised a hand, signaling he was okay, but the atmosphere didn't immediately recover. For a group that thrives on chemistry and synchronization, this was a disruption that no one had prepared for. The cameras kept rolling. And that's where everything changed. Because it wasn't just about the impact, it was about what happened next. The reactions, the silence, the unspoken communication between the members. A single moment had shifted the tone entirely, revealing something deeper beneath the surface of their dynamic. Fans would later analyze every frame, every glance, every subtle movement. But in real time, all that mattered was Jungkook and how the group responded to him. The game was no longer the focus, the moment was, and it was far from over. As the tension lingered in the air, something unexpected began to unfold. Not through words, but through the way BTS naturally recalibrated as a unit. Jungkook, still at the center of attention, lowered his hand and gave a small nod, signaling stability. It wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to shift the group's energy slightly away from concern toward recovery. Jin stayed closest, his presence steady, almost protective without being overwhelming. Jimin's eyes didn't leave Jungkook, reading every subtle expression, every micro reaction. RM spoke briefly, his tone measured, grounding the moment without escalating it. V stepped in just enough to lighten the atmosphere, offering a quiet comment that didn't force humor but allowed space for it to return. J-Hope's energy, usually bright and expressive, re-emerged carefully, while SUGA observed with a composed, almost analytical calm. And then there was Fallon. Still visibly shaken, he stepped forward again, this time more cautiously. The shift in his demeanor was unmistakable. Gone was the entertainer chasing laughs. What remained was someone fully aware of the weight of the moment. His body language said everything. Hesitation, concern, and a clear desire to make things right. Jungkook responded in a way that would later become the most discussed detail of the entire incident. He smiled. Not a forced smile, not a dismissive one, but a controlled, reassuring expression that immediately diffused tension. It was subtle, almost easy to miss, but it changed everything. The members saw it. it. Fallon saw it, and the atmosphere responded. That one small detail, the timing of Jungkook's reaction, became the turning point. The group began to reset. Jin cracked a light remark, testing the waters. Jimin exhaled, the tension visibly leaving his posture. RM gave a small nod, as if confirming that things were back under control. V's expression softened, returning to its usual calm. J-Hope let out a short laugh, and even SUGA's guarded demeanor eased slightly. Fallon followed their lead, cautiously reintroducing humor, but with a noticeable difference. There was more awareness now, more respect for the boundary between spontaneity and control. The game resumed, but it wasn't the same game. It had transformed. What viewers witnessed wasn't just a playful interaction or an unexpected mishap. It was a rare, unfiltered look at BTS as individuals and as a unit under sudden pressure. No choreography, no script, just instinct, connection, and trust. Each member played a role without needing direction. Jin's immediacy, Jimin's attentiveness, RM's leadership, V's emotional balance, J-Hope's energy control, SUGA's quiet stability, and Jungkook at the center, anchoring the entire moment with a single, well-timed response. By the time the segment wrapped, the atmosphere had fully recovered, laughter returned, the game continued, and Fallon gradually found his rhythm again. But something had shifted, not in a negative way, but in a way that revealed depth. For fans watching, it wasn't just about the impact of a ball, it was about what followed, because in that brief, unexpected moment, BTS showed exactly why their bond continues to resonate on a global scale. Not through perfection, but through how they handle the unpredictable together. And that's the detail that changes everything. The aftermath of the moment didn't end when the game resumed. In fact, that's when a deeper layer of the story began to surface, one that fans would later replay, slow down, and analyze frame by frame. The shift was subtle, but undeniable. Every movement, every glance between the members carried a new level of awareness. Jungkook stepped back into position, but his posture had changed slightly, not weakened, not shaken, but more alert. His focus sharpened, and there was a quiet determination in the way he re-engaged with the game. It wasn't about proving anything, it was about control. RM noticed it immediately. As leader, his attention moved between Jungkook and the overall flow of the moment. He didn't interrupt, didn't overreact, but his presence became more deliberate. His positioning shifted closer, his gaze more frequent. It was leadership in its most understated form, guiding without drawing attention. Jin, on the other hand, leaned into his role as the emotional stabilizer. He kept the energy moving, reintroducing humor in a way that felt natural, never forced. His timing was precise, almost instinctive. Each comment, each expression worked to keep Jungkook and the rest of the group anchored in a space that felt safe again. Jimin remained closely tuned to Jungkook's condition. His reactions mirrored every subtle shift, every micro expression. There was a protective edge to his presence, not loud or dramatic, but constant. Even when he laughed, his awareness never fully left Jungkook. V's contribution was quieter, but equally important. He didn't rush to fill silence or push the mood forward. Instead, he allowed the moment to breathe. His calm demeanor acted as a buffer, preventing the situation from becoming overprocessed or overly tense. J-Hope adjusted his energy with precision. Known for elevating the mood, he approached the situation carefully this time. His laughter returned in measured doses, ensuring it didn't overshadow the reality of what had just happened. It was a balance between lightness and respect. SUGA watched everything. His stillness wasn't disengaged, it was calculation. He observed how each member responded, how the atmosphere evolved, and how Jungkook carried himself moving forward. When he finally reacted, offering a short comment, it landed with weight, grounding the moment in a way that only he could. And Fallon remained changed. Even as the game continued, his movements were more controlled, his swings more cautious. The spontaneity that defined him earlier had been replaced with intention. He still engaged, still joked, but there was a visible layer of restraint. The moment had recalibrated him completely. The dynamic between Fallon and BTS shifted as well. There was now a mutual awareness, a shared understanding that something real had occurred. It wasn't staged, it wasn't scripted, and it couldn't be undone. But instead of creating distance, it built a different kind of connection. Jungkook once again became the center of that shift. He didn't withdraw, he didn't dramatize. Instead, he leaned back into the moment with quiet confidence. His interactions with Fallon resumed, but with a noticeable maturity, acknowledging what happened without letting it define the rest of the experience. That balance became the defining tone of the segment. Not tension, not comedy, control. As the cameras continued capturing every second, the narrative evolved from a simple game into something far more layered. The audience wasn't just watching a casual interaction anymore, they were witnessing how global artists navigate unpredictability in real time. And the most striking part, no one addressed it directly. There were no long explanations, no dramatic pauses, no attempts to turn the moment into something bigger than it needed to be. Everything was communicated through action, through presence, through the unspoken rhythm of a group that has spent years understanding each other beyond words. By the time the segment neared its end, the energy had stabilized completely, but the impact of that one moment remained, subtle, embedded, impossible to ignore, because sometimes it's not the incident itself that defines the story, it's how people move after it.